The title of the lesson, always a test. Practicing courage. You get an A. All right. So our annual theme is courage over comfort, and we are reading the book by Brené Brown called Daring Greatly. How many people are actually reading the book or have read the book? Okay, maybe about a third or so. So Brené Brown, of course, many New York Times bestsellers these days, is talking about daring greatly. What is daring? What is daring? Taking chances, courage, stepping out, inventiveness, being vulnerable, following your dreams, getting comfortable in the unknown, taking risks, conquering fear. Okay, that'll be fun to revisit. So, according to, I think it was this book, could have been a different book, daring is the willingness to take risks or face the challenges with courage and boldness, acting bravely in the face of fear or uncertainty. Now, I just love when Spirit provides these kinds of synchronicities, because when I chose the title, Practicing Courage, I didn't know we would be finishing up the 2 weeks of the Olympics. Do those athletes practice courage? Oh gosh, I mean, I'm just getting goosebumps thinking about it. They're practicing courage not just in the moment, but they're practicing courage as they prepare for their performance, per se. I'm curious, do they inspire you? I mean, we're all watching TV more than usual because it's just, I mean, obviously the suspense is wonderful, but watching these people be inspired and empowered and transform their body to perform in that particular way. And I don't mean a performance like, oh, they're faking it, but to actually do the event in front of the whole world watching. Now, I don't usually watch a lot of TV, and I don't really like the commercials in between. But I loved the commercial, which I'm sure many of you saw, where the woman got so inspired that she grabbed her phone and asked AI, how do I become an Olympian? And then next what you see her doing, and I forget which event it was, I'm going to say swimming. The next thing you know, you see her in her living room with all the pillows on the floor and her trying to practice her exercise. I thought that was great. So how do we become inspired to practice courage every day? Now, Ernest Holmes, the science of mind philosopher and inventor of this philosophy, he didn't talk a lot directly about courage. Again, this was in 1937 when he first developed the Science of Mind textbook. However, he spoke a lot about us needing to overcome fear, and to overcome fear requires courage and faith. And I don't just mean religious faith. Certainly spiritual faith is key to why we are here, but it really also becomes a faith in life with a capital L. Faith in life that things will work out. So Dr. Ernest Holmes created a book after he did the Science of Mind textbook, and that's called Living the Science of Mind. And on page 359, so later in the book, he says, fear is a contagion, like a germ that spreads. Where are we seeing that today in society? The election? Yeah, politics. And, why? Well, apparently fear sells, right? So the question becomes, how do we replace fear with faith and confidence? It means tuning in to the one universal mind. And that one universal mind, because it is the intelligence, the wisdom, the love, the peace that is beyond what we see, but ever present, it can free us from fear. Now, how do we practice that? Of course, we talk about spiritual practices here, whether that is prayer, meditation, positive affirmations, communing with the invisible spirit of our life, of that one universal mind. We can draw from it strength, peace, serenity, and we can draw into our beingness, into our mind and into our heart. So Holmes says, just like a germ, just as a germ of a physical disease is less likely to infect a strong body, so the germ of mental fear is resisted by a whole and happy mind, a mind that knows a greater truth with a capital T. I think about that particularly, post-COVID. We all became a lot more aware of our mental health. And then we think about the ramifications of that and what we see in today's election. I mean, for me, the electoral election environment right now is very significantly different than how I remember presidential elections in my life, yes? Why? I like when Ernest Holmes wrote, "Wouldn't it be great if a newspaper headline actually read, 'We're now inoculated with faith and the fear germ has disappeared'?" It's true that fear is contagious, but so is courage. The Olympics being one example. Okay, can I have the first background picture up? Many of us know that we use fear to be false evidence appearing real. But I liked how this one said, "Forget everything and run," or "Face everything and rise." And we know that courage is inspirational, whether it's the heroes in Walt Disney movies or other movies you watch, or whether it's these athletes. We know that when we see somebody act with courage, it is an inspiration for us. It too is contagious. So, how are you going to practice courage? Some of you know that the Centers for Spiritual Living, if you sign up via your phone, they have an election intention, and every day we are getting called with our intention for the election, which is not about fear. We must intend, we must choose and decide how we are going to see this election event with 85 days left. On October 13th, I speak again, and after my lesson will be a little bit about this, as well as the election intention. And then we're going to do a workshop afterwards, and then Leanne Lipscomb is going to do a repatterning on October 26th as a workshop, and I hope that you'll all put those things in your calendar. Of course, we'll be putting that in the e-blast. It's an opportunity for us to come together with our intention of what the outcome of the election means. And you realize this is not talking about politics, because politics is about the earthly things happening. We're talking about setting our intention about what we know about unity, about love, about humanity. It's setting the metaphysical intentions of the outcome. It is beyond the politics. So I hope you'll join us for that. But in the meantime, how do we practice courage every day? Well, I've been setting, ever since I made this lesson title, I've been setting my setting my morning intention to practice courage every day. And of course, that begins with hearing from Centers for Spiritual Living on the election. But the first thing you must know to practice any intention is first to decide and be committed to that intention. We go through life going, yeah, I'm for that, but have you set an intention and made a decision? What's different about an intention? A commitment. Not just a passive response. The second step is to take action after you've set your intention. So here's the small things I've been doing to practice courage. And by the way, practicing courage really means practicing freedom to stretch outside your old habits. So, went to a new restaurant, choose new food to eat, bike to work, go down a different path. Today I chose to drive a different road path here. When I go to the store, make some different choices about what I'm choosing to eat. I'm outside my habit. And I'm trying to make it, you might say, a habit to be courageous, to choose new. Now, what about big things, Kathy? Are you practicing courage in big things? Well, retirement from the university after 36 years is a big step. I have 9 working days left. Boy, did that go fast. If you would have told me that I would have been within the California State University for 36 years when I started, I would have told you were crazy. But, you know, it is courageous to leave the people that I know, the institution that has a mission that I'm passionate about, teaching and learning, making impact every day for tens of thousands of students. Whether they graduate or not, I know we're making a difference. Why do I know? Because I was first generation student through college. I know that personally, and I realize that as I get closer, as I'm walking on campus to say, I'll no longer really be an insider influencing what's happening inside this institution, but now I'm going to be on the outside of this institution. And that's a new way to wear that on my shoulders. What does that mean? I mean, graduates have always been inspiring to hear how they are starting their new life post higher education. So it's courage to release what I've loved and known for so long. It's courage to shape the next chapter of my life. And I have to tell you that one of the things I say to myself when I'm practicing courage is, oh, what can I create now? When something fearful shows up, what can I create now? Many of you know that when there's something happening that can make somebody a little nerve-wracking, I'm saying, well, here we go, down the slide. What new thoughts, and our philosophy is known as a new thought philosophy, what new thoughts can I choose? As you know, when you work a job 8 to 10 hours a day, your focus becomes their focus. You know, when I get on the job, here's what my work is in front of me, the tasks I need to do, the goals I need to reach. So now I'm going to have a lot more space and time to choose, to intend what I want to do with the next chapter of my life. I create more space on what I choose rather than letting the university decide. So, of course, I've already taken some trips. Trips are exciting to me, but it is being courageous because you are seeing and doing new things, going places that you've never been before. Can I have you show the wedding picture? I think that's the third one. Makes me cry. Many of you have known me for quite some time. I've been a part of this center for 89 years. 89 years. Woo! That means I'm really going to be old. For essentially the 36 years I've been at the institution, I've been here, and I know that many of you have said you remember having the christening here of my daughter. And so this was taken at the mission in San Juan Capistrano. And she's got more pictures, but it took a while for them to release them, and then I've been busy, and of course now I need to go through them all. But of course there was a lot of courage in that moment too, as far as the mother-daughter dance, which was so special. I merged 2 songs together, and I told her I'm not going to tell you what the songs are. And I did Hero, and basically saying to her with lots of symbolism, I bought a necklace that had a pearl on it, and I said, "What is it that reminds me of you? You've always had grit, just like the pearl." And so, I was living in heaven. I still live in heaven thinking about her wedding. And it was a very special time. So right now, my brain has a lot of neurons firing and rewiring. And Sue and I, in early September, are going to Washington, D.C. She's never been there, but I'll be also seeing things I have never seen before, and continuing to do some traveling. Sue likes to say, well, by the time we get done traveling, and then it's Thanksgiving, and then it's Christmas, you won't even know you're retired till January. Now, I have to say, this is in contrast of a relative that I know that chooses the same thing every day. This person's habits are now perfection. But their world gets so small. It becomes upsetting and uncomfortable to do something new and unknown. But life is always bringing us new unknowns. And so sometimes it can be stressful to be with the person who, when the unknowns of life are happening, like, technology's not working, the phone, something's wrong, you name it, it can become then very stressful. And frankly, literally gets old. Now, the person can say, I'm comfortable with these things. I don't want to be uncomfortable. Which to me feels like not really exercising freedom. It is exercising freedom by saying, I'm doing what I want to do, what makes me comfortable. But pretty soon you're sort of taking for granted the freedom that you have to do other bold, courageous things. And again, today, in today's psychology, we know it's out there that we need to exercise our brain. And it's in exercising our brain that keeps us young and moving forward. Because change is always happening regardless if we're choosing to accept that. And if we want to stand in the river that is constantly changing, we're going to get worn down. Can I have the second photo? Nothing in life is to be feared, only to be understood. Now is the time to understand so that we may fear less. There is another book I'm reading. Of course, you guys all know I'm book fiends. This book is called The Fear Cure, Cultivating Courage as Medicine for the Body, Mind, and Soul. It is written by a medical doctor who she herself at one point in her life, after going through med school and going deep into debt, decided she needed to step out of the way medicine was done. Courage is not about being fearless. It's about letting fear transform you. Change. So you can come into right relationship with uncertainty and make peace with impermanence and wake up to who you really are. Courage helps you make choices that strengthens you rather than diminishes you. In other words, if you don't practice courage, your courage muscle shrinks. Let the fear cure you. Let it open you, awaken you, and make you more aware of the message that fear is trying to give you. Let fear be your teacher. Now, what that means is facing the fear rather than running from the fear. She writes on page 95, something magical happens when you stop trying to control every aspect of your life and let life be your teacher. So for a lot of us, we're used to trying to control what's happening. We want it this way. Even when things don't go your way, then what? Then we're frustrated because we're not in control and it's not happening the way we want it to happen. But what if all of a sudden we just look at what's happening as there's miracles happening here? There's a lesson happening here. What can I cultivate from this lesson? What can I cultivate from this fear? Curiosity changes the intimidation of fear. So when you're willing to release your grip on certainty and lean into the mystery of the unknown, life can start to delight you. You grow. You transform. You move past the false fears of that mind chatter holding you back. And you lean into the uncertainty from a place of faith. A faith in life with a capital L. A faith in the universe that has all of the planets going round and round and the stars. And I don't tell my heart to beat. My heart just beats. So now I'm going to return back to Ernest Holmes, our founder. And again, I mentioned that he doesn't speak a lot to courage. Maybe that word wasn't used a lot, but he is still, throughout all of his teaching, talking about how we can overcome our fear. How do we do that? By knowing the universal divine consciousness. We choose our thoughts and align ourselves with the truth of our inherent divinity. And when we do that, allow that fear to teach us and then dissolve by opening to greater possibilities. So we work at overcoming our fear. We work doing science of mind treatment. If you're unfamiliar with our form of affirmative prayer, we have many practitioners here who are willing to do affirmative prayer with you so that you can have that experience. It is by your spiritual conviction that you will practice courage and then take action by stepping forward in life, making new choices, trusting that positive outcomes will flow, even if it doesn't look like it's going to be a positive outcome. You know, for us, if it doesn't happen our way, it's not a positive outcome until we look back and say, oh, that was good that happened. So I'm going to read from the Living from Science. Yes, what is it called? Living the Science of Mind. This is the end of one of the chapters of Overcoming Fear. So if you'll just take a moment, get centered, maybe you want to close your eyes to hear the words. I know that I am one with life with a capital L. I now understand that life itself is perfect and complete, that there is a spiritual presence and a divine unity running through everything. I understand how it is that this divine unity personifies itself through all people. I see clearly how it is that this divine unity operates through every form and animates every event. I'm conscious of the divine presence at the very center of my own soul and being. It is the reality of myself. This reality is strong, positive, certain, confident, and whole. I see that the reality within me is the same as the reality in all people whom I shall ever meet, and that reality within them responds to the reality within me. Therefore, in our human greeting, there is a divine unity. All human relationships are established in this divine unity. All of my relationships flow from it. There is no fear, no sense of inferiority. I am conscious of my ability to meet every situation. I am conscious of my ability to meet every person with perfect frankness, openness, and in complete understanding. Moreover, I know that every person wishes me well. Every situation which I experience tends to promote my well-being, to increase my happiness and my self-expression, and all the good that there is my good today. My faith in good is complete. My union with life is perfect, and I shall always meet appreciation, helpfulness, encouragement, and certainty. This is the law, spiritual law, manifesting itself in my experience today, tomorrow, and always. And so it is. All right.